What's up, y'all? I'm back. I don't know. The internet be on that bullshit. You know, when you start popping your shit, you know, the internet want to start acting up. So hopefully we're gonna hang in there. But yes, like I was saying though, okay, this is one of those places where yes, we're warding off the energy of people who are not in alignment either. You know what I'm saying? Because we can't bring those, like, let's say we were creating a village, right? Hey, wintertime happiest. Hey, big indie motion. Thank you so much for joining the live, love. Hey, wintertime happiest. I seen that too. It was at, well, it said 211 here, but so you must be on the West Coast or something like that. But yeah, I seen that. It was hating on us. It was hating on us. But yeah, so this is one of those things where it's like, yes, this is how we protect. First of all, protect ourselves. But not only that, protect. Let's say we're rebuilding, right? We're rebuilding and we're creating community. We're creating a village. You know what I'm saying? And then you got these people who come in that trying to come in and bogart and try to take control and things like that. That's what I'm saying. We got to be in a place where we're all in alignment with the same things, right? We want to see positive change, right? We want to create scenarios where we're creating a controlled environment where we're not being controlled by, you know what I'm saying, the forces and things like that. Hey, get it, Saza. Thank you so much for joining the live, love. Wintertime Happiest said, I've dropped so many people and I feel like a lot of us are. Yes, we are wrapping that shit up, baby. Get the fuck out of here, right? If we're not on the same type of time, it's like in 2025, we can't bring those type of people with us to moving forward, because it's like they are still caught up in the old ways of the Matrix. They still caught up in materialism. They still caught up in shit that don't fucking matter. They don't have a higher power pushing them or molding them, or they don't have a righteous moral foundation to stand on. They being guided by low vibrational forces, okay? Hey, Scorpio Love 1030, thank you so much for joining the live. Yeah, so we got to, leave. It's unfortunate because a lot of those people we love, a lot of those people we don't want to leave behind, but shit, a motherfucker got to be unbothered on their ass. Like, you know how cats be. Cats don't fuck with you like that. They fuck with you when, it's just like I said, being unbothered, not my problem, right? Those are disengaged. You know what I'm saying? Be disinterested. These are people we can't entertain this shit. And hold on, y'all. I think I just got a shipment. Hold on 1 second. I'll be right back. Are you coming in or are you staying out? What are we doing? All right. Okay. All right. Thank you, guys. I had to go get something from outside. I just got a delivery. Once you take off those glasses, it gets so lonely. They literally can't comprehend how none of those things matter, and you have to leave them. No, Marley, you're not doing that. Come up here, lay down, or you can go out. They literally can't comprehend how none of those things matter, and you have to leave them to figure it out too. And Wintertime Happiest says, I'm so unbothered. Like, I don't care if I've been friends with them for almost a decade. Okay. Fuck that shit. Come on, you want to go out here? Here. Cause you're not about to be whining. I'm trying to do something. You're breaking my concentration. Okay. Big facts. That's what type of time we're on, because like a lot of people will be anchors in your life and they will keep you stagnant. They don't, because a lot of times, see, people have given up on their own ascension. They've given up on finding their own purpose. And so it's like you ascending, you growing, you elevating is like a reminder to them that they are not elevating. They're not shifting. Hey, uplifting one. Thank you so much for joining the live, love. So yeah, in that, so that's what happens. It's like they want to just, these are going to be anchors and people trying to reel you back in to the old ways of existing, right? But we're in a new timeline and we're not on that type of time. We're not doing none of that, right? This is like time for us to celebrate and uplift the fact that we're ascending, that we're becoming better. And the people that are not willing to come and celebrate your wins, celebrate your growth, celebrate that you have evolved, you're trying to do something better in your life, like you don't want to be a part of the same old ways of thinking and things like that. If you can't bring people who celebrate you when you're ascending and you're uplifting yourself, then it is, I'm sorry to hear that. it's just like you said, it's just not my problem. And it's just time to let people go, you know what I'm saying, in love, you know, and just be like, hey, I'm sorry, but it's just not for me anymore, okay? Yeah, you have to avoid those types of people. When you're transforming, the phoenix rising, okay, you're evolving, okay, that's when it's time to say, these people, it's like, it's a reality check sometimes for people, okay? Yeah, they're too caught up on pseudo success, basically just classes. Right, exactly. And it's all fake and phony and based on reputation and perception of others and what people think of them. And it's not rooted in authenticity and their truth and who they are. It's like, it's a facade. I'm tired of motherfuckers living as characters, personas. You know what I mean? Like, okay, I understand if you are an artist, a performer, and you have your stage name and things like that, right? But it's like, why can't that be one and the same? I don't get why it's like, as an artist, you can't still be authentic to who you really are. It's like, that was something that, you know what? I was just thinking this earlier. It's so funny because I was thinking like, what happened to the state? And I was like, Love and Hip Hop was a huge shift where, like, when Love and Hip Hop came out, right? This culture that was probably just in the industry, right? I mean, not that it wasn't happening already, right? But what happened is they made this culture mainstream to have these fake superficial relationships, to be fake and superficial, to be a persona, to be a character, right? I remember when Emily and Fabulous was together on Love and Hip Hop, and how, like, behind the scene, Emily and his kids, and they had this beautiful family, but it was like, his whole thing is like, well, I'm an artist, my fans, I can't, I gotta act like I ain't with nobody, this type of deal, right? We've always known this to be a thing and be acceptance of, like, artists and musicians and the industry, where it's like they have double lives, right? So it's like, people identified with that because everybody want to be famous. Everybody want to be a celebrity. Everybody want to be a rapper. Everybody want to be, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is what everybody want to do. So it's like, at the end of the day, instead of being raw and authentically pure in who you really are, you rather adopt a persona or try to fit into this way to be accepted by people. You see what I'm saying? Instead of being true to yourself and allowing the people that fuck with you for who you are to fuck with you, right? But it's like, no, you want to adapt to being something that you're not. And guess what? All you're doing is drawing in superficial ass fake relationships to people that don't even really fuck with you because they don't even know who you really are because you didn't present your true self in the first fucking place. Okay? So Wintertime Happiest says, I've grown so much more, and I know we are growing so much, like the whole collective that's waking up to abundance and feeling whole in themselves. Big facts. Hey, Digital Duchess Photo, thank you so much for joining the live, love. That is so true. Wintertime Happiest. Yes, exactly. It's like we're waking up to something more because we recognize that, yes, healing, right? That's what brings us into our abundance when we've been healed, right? When we've gotten into this place where we're like ready to grow. We're ready to build strong relationships that are balanced, right? That are like some people that are a reflection of what we truly are, right? These genuine connections, okay? When we're moving from our heart chakra, okay? And we're moving from a love place, right? And we want to have people around us that we can really genuinely give and share that love with, that is going to authentically reciprocate it, right? Wintertime Happiest says they think they're better, but they lack basic respect for others, right? They don't necessarily have the same materialistic success, which is really just smoke and mirrors, right? Exactly. Most people most people who are so caught up into that, they're not real. They're not genuine. They're not real people. Okay? They're not. But yeah, exactly. So this is right. Exactly. Look. This is that type of energy. You know what I'm saying? Like you putting on a little front, a little fake. You know what I'm saying? But this is, at the end of the day, when you are pure and confident in who you really are, okay, and you allow your authentic, creative, raw energy to take the lead, you know what I'm saying? That is when you can really build a genuine network of people who really fuck with you, that really are in alignment, because You are moving and leading with your truth, not a facade. Not a fucking facade, okay? You've disciplined self, right? You mastered yourself. You know who you are. You know what I'm saying? And you walk in that. You walk in the presence of who you really are. You don't portray yourself as fake and phony and trying to just live like that celebrity lifestyle, okay? Yeah, you've gone through a spiritual awakening. Hi, I am Art. Thank you so much for joining the live. Yeah, this is all about going through that spiritual awakening, and that's what a part of that is, finding self, knowing who am I, right? Okay, yeah, this is about, allowing yourself to be free as well, to be unpredictable, right? That's where that comes from. You're finding this passion that is igniting within your spirit, and you're allowing that to guide you, to help you find yourself, right? And this is talk about soulmates, right? So this is, if you're able to know who you really truly are, then you're able to align with people who really align with you, people that are in alignment with your purpose, your soul purpose, right? But if you're, like I said, if you're presenting yourself to be someone that you aren't really, then you can't align yourself with true, real people, because that person can't find you because you're not presenting yourself to be who you really fucking are. So how is your soulmate gonna find you? Because he's gonna resonate with who you really are, or she's gonna resonate with your spirit. You know what I mean? If you're not reflecting your spirit in your actions and how you're acting and what you're doing on a regular basis, then it's gonna be hard, right? Look, fish hook came out, right? It's like, it's plenty of fish in the sea, but if you are baiting the wrong thing, then you're not gonna get the fish that you want. Okay, it's like con games and all of that, right? That's talking about people who are playing behind this persona. Okay, people that are, I talk about narcissism all the time because that's so prevalent, right? That's what this America, right? This culture breeds narcissism because that's what they're promoting. It's like, oh, they're not promoting real, genuine, raw. They're promoting superficial shit. Wintertime Happiest says, the people that walk in facades probably need to reflect on possible emptiness from different areas, like feeling misunderstood or childhood wounds, neglect or father wounds, and more. It's just about big facts. Filling those weak areas with abundance. Yes, exactly. They just need to reflect. That's what I'm saying. Like, a lot of people need just healing. Hey, Frank Baresi 790. Thank you so much for joining the live, love. But yeah, that's what it is. It's like the healing that's needed, right? Because whatever they were lacking from their childhood and whatever rejection they received from their childhood, a lot of times people will adapt. Okay, let's see. Oh, well, people don't like this. Maybe I need to be this way, right? When we grew up in school, it was always about trying to be accepted. Like, I remember being in school and I was actually bullied. Like, I remember being young in school and nobody liking me. But I was okay with that. Like, I never felt like I needed to change myself to make people like me. But I remember being very young. And I think it was only because I was new, right? You know how sometimes you go to a school and everybody, they knew each other since preschool, kindergarten. Here I come. I'm just new to the school. I don't even know nobody. And so you're the person everybody want to, treat like an outcast and things like that. So I experienced that as a child. And, but it didn't make me reflect and say that I wanted to be something different. Like, I had that confidence in myself. I knew who I was, you know what I'm saying? Even at that very young age, but I do recall times where it did sometimes hurt my feelings if I felt like there was somebody that was my actual friend and then they turned around to show me something otherwise, you know what I mean? That might have gotten to me. But just to come in and people don't like me, I'm not trying to really adapt to try to fit in. That was never me. So, but I understand that children do that, right? They will adapt because people don't want to be shunned. People don't want to not be accepted. People don't want to come in and feel like nobody likes them. And it's like, especially when they ain't doing nothing fucking wrong. You see what I'm saying? So that's what children will do. They'll start to shift their way of being if it's not accepted. So then they'll try to do things that will get them accepted by people. And then they learn that, right, you start to condition yourself to say like, oh, well, I gotta be a shapeshifter to be accepted in this group, or that group, and then you stop being authentic, right? You start just actually being a certain way to be accepted. You saw through their ways in school. Big facts. I seen through all of that shit. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's like when you're neglecting yourself, this is unhealthy. This causes sickness. It causes illness. When you are working against you and you don't find that self-love, that self-care, yes, this will make you sick. This will cause all other kind of situations in your life that are not going to be a positive thing for you. The risk of not being your authentic self is death. Like, it's so tragic. Exactly. Because you're not going to be in alignment with what God has for you, right? And it's going to leave you in this uncertainty, right? You're going to be in this level of uncertainty because you're not being guided by your true self, your higher self. You're being guided by your ego. You can't be guided. When you're guided by your ego, you're not going to go nowhere too far. You know, our ego is a tool. We're supposed to use our ego, but in unison with our higher self. We don't just use our ego to guide us in situations, because that's how we create all kind of conflicts in our lives, right? So yeah, so this is all about being in the place where, yes, we're meditating. We're finding that time to go deep within to figure out who are we really. And see, a lot of us have already done that work. A lot of people in this live have already done the work to know who the fuck they really are, right? But this is a constant journey, right? Learning yourself is not just, oh, I know myself now. No, every day is you going within. It's every day. It's a self-discovery of self. Every day is you meditating. Every day is you journaling, figuring out like what downloads are coming over me. What purpose do I have today? Like it's always a journey. It's always a journey, right? So this is the situation that we always want to apply on a regular basis, where we're always going to self-reflect and going to see, because we're always having different experiences every day that help us build even more understanding about ourselves. Hey, Vibes with Sabrina, welcome back, babe. Thank you so much for joining the live. Yes, like this is an everyday journey for us of self-discovery, right? Every day we're going through something different. Every day we're experiencing a new reality, right? And depending on what that reality is, we got to apply that to what we have in front of us, right? Laying our cards on the table and just seeing how that applies to us. You know, it's always going to be that contrast, right? It's always going to be that contrast. So that contemplation, that peace that we create for ourselves to go. And we need to, you know, sometimes we're very hard on ourselves. We don't even give ourselves grace. We don't give ourselves, you know, the time to understand that it's a process. You know, sometimes we're very hard on ourselves. This is about relaxing, taking a break, right? Inner child healing, taking that time alone. You know what I'm saying? So isolation is a beautiful thing when you're discovering yourself, right? Separating yourself from everybody else, because a lot of times other people's energy will influence your own perception of yourself. So sometimes you got to just separate yourself from everything, despite of what other people think. What do you think? Fuck what everybody else think, because it's irrelevant to you when it comes to how you're going to move, what you're going to accomplish in life. Hey, good ass Trini. Thank you so much for joining the live, love. Yes, y'all. And this is all about exploring, right? We got travel. So this is like, you have to explore self. You have to go within and really, without any boundaries, right? Without any limitations of perceptions of others, right? Of preconceived notions and stereotypes. All of these things play a role, you know, in the outlook that we have on ourselves. You know what I'm saying? This is all about you being able to be in a place where we can leave those things behind and not adapt to those stereotypes or allow people's judgments to even make us feel like we have to be confined to those ways of being and things like that. Okay. And this is all about the freedom, okay? Going with the wind, right? Free will choices. So what I'm seeing is that it's like us telling ourselves that we don't have no limitation of what we can become. We don't have no limitations of what we can be. We don't have no limitations even without expectations. So you say even without expectations, what do you, I don't know what you're asking from what I was saying. Even without expectations, I say without expectations of others, right? Like we can have our own expectations because that's how we create boundaries. That's how we set, the standard for ourselves. So like we can have expectations for ourselves. And when we decide if we're going to interact with other people, yes, we should have expectations. I think expectations are good because they kind of set boundaries, right? But we can't make people live up to the expectations, but we can have expectations and boundaries set for ourselves so that when people are not meeting those expectations or they're not respecting those boundaries, we know how to place them. We know how to move them out of the way because they're like, okay, these people are not for us. They don't meet our expectations. They don't, respect our boundaries. They're not in a space where they're in alignment with what I desire, what I need for myself, for the healing, for the ascension, right? So in that case, yes, right? Hey, Dano Tarantino, thank you so much for joining the live, love. You make a difference in this world. God bless. Oh, thank you, Frank Baresi. Thank you so much for that, love. Wintertime Happiest says, it's okay if when people do look inward, not liking who they became, but believe in the person that they want to become and moving towards that. Big facts, Wintertime Happiest. I like how you put that. Dystopian Warlord says, you said explore ourselves without boundaries. LOL. I'm hard on myself. Oh, okay. So when I say explore ourselves without boundaries, right? That what I mean by that is more like, okay, the boundaries and the limitations of others, or like, how we, like you said, sometimes we're our own worst critics, right? We have to be real with ourselves and we have to be authentic with ourselves and we have to look at everything, and we can't, like, this is us accepting like even our shadow selves and understanding it and learning the shadow and using the shadow to, like, using that shadow self. When we discover that side of us, we utilize it for our light. So we're taking that, we're recognizing our darkness and the things maybe that we are our flaws, maybe the things that we don't like about ourselves, right? We're looking at it and we're facing it, because sometimes we just act like it's not there. We try to pretend like we don't, have these flaws. We don't have these things, but we do, right? And how we heal it is by looking at it, right? And we put it into perspective, because sometimes those shadow things are there to protect us. Sometimes those shadow things are there, but when we shine our light on it, right, we make sure that we recognize it, but we also are in control. We set boundaries for ourselves, because if we utilize that shadow side in certain ways, it would demean us. It wouldn't empower us, right? So we're learning how to take those things that are shadow and utilize it as empowerment, because it's empowering to see something that we don't like in ourselves and say, I'm going to correct that by looking at it and I'm going to do something better about it, right? Like, this is what I mean, right? So yeah, let's not be so hard on ourselves that we can't see the flaws, see the shadow things that we need to correct within ourselves, but also we don't allow that shadow to take precedence or take control of how we're moving, right? We heal it, we deal with it, and we heal it so we can move on, and it will no longer like create obstacles and illusions for us, because we're pretending that it doesn't exist, right? Yeah, see? Because that's what happens when we do that. We create victim mentality within ourselves, right? We create confusion within ourselves, okay? We have this bias, right? We have this cognitive dissonance, this conflict within, okay? And that's what we don't need to have, because it only hinders us, right? It doesn't help our growth. All right. So what else, Spirit? Yeah. And see, home is where the heart is, right? Heart and home. So it's like, once we go within and like, this is just like moving into a home, right? And you know how when you move into a home, and you know how sometimes the basement is like dark and musky, you got that little funky like little smell, that basement smell, and it might be a little moist and wet down there, and you just moving into your new home, and it's like now you have to go and do some some renovations in the basement, right? You got to go down there and you don't want it to be a half basement. You want to be a full basement. You down there and put some carpet down in that bitch and put some, wallpaper up and, you spruce that basement up. And now it's another place that you can live in, a place where you can, the basement might be unfinished. Right, exactly. But we go and we remodel that motherfucking basement, and now it's a whole new living space where we can go have good time, fun, enjoy. You know what I'm saying? That's what that's about, right? Going into the darkness, they're going into that basement, right? We may not like how that motherfucker appear, but we gonna go and we gonna go shift and spruce it up and turn it into a luxurious new extra space that we can enjoy in our home. Okay, that's what that is about. Okay, and we're also creating a place where, that's another place where we can go and create comfort, peace within ourselves, because now we lit up that darkness within that basement, right? Hey, Brisa 888, thank you so much for joining the live, love. Yeah, exactly. Unchanged, right? Once it's like, if we don't do that, then it won't allow us to evolve. Okay, thank you for clearing that up. You're a great reader. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I feel like with y'all chiming in, this helps me. We're all reading right now. We're all channeling this divine information by just going back and forth out of each other. So just y'all being a part of this makes this even a better dynamic and type of conversation. Winter time happiest says light through the dark. Exactly. The light through the dark is so empowering, y'all. It's like, it's allowing you to have this level of self-awareness. It's allowing you to see yourself in full, right? Instead of acting like there's sides of you that don't exist and then you're not able to address everything, right? You can't have a real self-assessment if you're not able to look at everything, right? And this is what happens. See, this is that thin line, right, between narcissism and empathic, because that's what happens too. Like a lot of narcissists, that's what happens with them, is that they are in denial about their darkness, and they want to act like their darkness doesn't exist, and they want to pretend that they're all this love and light, or they want to pretend that there's something that they're not, right? And then it comes up, right, in different ways when they're triggered or different situations happen. And then it's like you see the darkness and that demonic energy come up out of them because of them trying to bury that darkness instead of dealing with it, instead of being like, damn, let me look at this darkness so I can sort through it, so I can move on with my life, so I can find happiness, so I can find security, so I can find real, genuine love, friendships, people who are supportive, people who really love me for who I am, because I'm not in denial of my true self. I'm not in denial of the darkness and the light or the things, because it's like we're a balance of both. Right? That's the divine feminine, the divine feminine, the divine masculine, right? The yin and the yang, the dark and the light. Like we possess both, but we so much try to shun off the darkness and act like it doesn't exist because we're trying to portray to be these fake ass, like we're just perfect in the world, you know what I'm saying? When nobody is, you know what I mean? So yeah, it's healthy. It's healthy to reflect. And it's like I said, we want to meet people that are going to reflect who we really are within. So it's like we can't really usher that into our lives until we decide to really pay attention to who we really are at the source. Okay, who we really are within, right? The truth of who we are, the interconnectedness, okay? That is what we need to do. The law of one. When we understand ourselves within, right? We tap into the intuition too, right? The intuition is like the depth of us. That's us sorting through our emotions, feeling things out. Like how do we feel about things? All of that. When we go into that depth, right? It allows us to see things clear. It allows us to plan for the future. Okay. We have this level of discernment and we get this sixth sense that helps us move through situations that beyond just what we see on a physical level, but also on a spiritual level as well. Okay. And it gets us to this place where we become happy and appreciative of ourselves, regardless if we're perfect or not. What's up? Hey. I never knew how to pronounce that. Is it Halo V? What's up, Halo V? Thank you so much for joining the live, love. So, yes, this is all about being in a place where you're ready to look at your flaws and be accepting of it though, and not allow it to make you think less of yourself. And what it helps you do is rebuild. It helps you be able to look and say, you know what? I can do this over again and over again until I become this mastermind. It's like I have to go within. If I have to keep going into my darkness to heal it, to be able to thrive and be this phoenix rising, then it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like I can't sit here and negate and act like these things are not happening within me. Like I have to face whatever inner turmoil and trauma is going on, or not. Guess what is going to happen? It's going to reflect in your exterior world. God is always going to usher in things to make us go look at the fucking trauma. Go look at that healing, because you need to heal it. So if you keep ignoring it, guess what? You're just going to keep experiencing shit that's going to keep bringing it up. It's going to keep triggering it until you face it, until you look at it and say, oh, now I see what this is, right? It's going to be a force that is going to be pushed into your life until you get this spiritual insight to overcome this. You know what I mean? You're going to continue. But it's like when you do this, right? You gain this divine favor in your life, right? You start to get more in tune with Christ consciousness, right? You start to get more in tune and alignment with the Most High, because you're your authentic self. You're exactly what God made you. So when you start to be in alignment with exactly what God made you, then that's when you start getting more connected to source, because now you're in alignment, right, with the purpose that He put innately within your spirit, okay? Wintertime Happiest says, if someone never acknowledges their faults, there won't really be fruitful progress, but only projection of their own negligence, pseudo superiority. Facts, girl. I love your vocabulary. Speak on that shit, okay? Yes, that's so facts. Exactly. And guess what? You're just going to be in a fucking cage. You're going to be a cage within yourself, because you're not expressing who you really are, okay? You're not really, and then you're going to come to this place where you're going to be controlled by lower forces. You're going to be controlled from things outside of self, okay? And then you're going to be able to, you're like, this is what happens too, right? People who refuse to grow, they start to reflect envy towards people who are growing, who are evolving, who are able to look at their darkness, who are able to see both sides of the, their masculine, their feminine, their dark and their light, right? They start to despise people like that, right? And then they start to create situations where it's like, oh, now they're looking at you, jealousy. You know what I'm saying? It's like, no, why are we going to create this type of issues where now, since we can't accept ourselves, now we can't accept other people who are healing, who love them fucking self? Because nobody told you had to not love yourself, baby. You chose that lifestyle, okay? But it's like, once you do find that love for self, you then open up this cage and you free this bird. You let this bird fly, okay? And then you're able to get this abundance that the Most High really be wanting for us to experience in life, right? It allows us to receive that, because now we find the things within ourselves that guide us to this, because God be wanting us to experience our harvest, experience our abundance, experience our prosperity. He wants us to experience like a beautiful life, right? But it's like that whole process of going into the dark to get to the light. That's the whole process of going, when they talk about the Kundalini rising, right? It's like it comes from the root chakra and it goes up, right? So it's like, if you have to start from the root though, so it's like, you got to go to the darkness before you get to the light. Okay. That's just how the shit works. Okay. But once you do that, okay, you create this level of stamina. Okay. It pushes you become endurant. You find your inner talents. You hone in on your skills. Okay. You're able to find the beauty and the magic in who you really are, because you really took the time, right? You took that time to be able to discover who you really are at the core, okay? And you guys, I'm going to go ahead and just pull some advice for us, and I'll go ahead and wrap up this reading, because I feel like I had that first reading that kind of, the internet started acting up. So I'm like, let me try to wrap this up for this shit start doing this again. But I'm going to gain some advice for us from the angels and see what we have. But yes, connection to source. Thank you so much, love. I really appreciate y'all. I appreciate y'all wisdom, and I appreciate the love that y'all sharing with me. Thank y'all so much. So yes, angels, what messages do we have for the live today? Okay. Beauty in all areas. Yes, right. When we go to through that self-discovery, we start to find the beauty in all areas, and we even find the beauty in our darkness, the beauty in the things that we don't love. Like, y'all, I think about the flaws, like, or just their perceived flaws, right? They're not like flaws is based on perception. So who's to say that anything that we don't like about ourselves is even a flaw? When we learn how to love the things that we don't like about ourselves, that's when we really overcome. It's like, why don't we even fucking like this about ourselves anyway? This is who I am. You see what I'm saying? And we have to be able to learn how to distinguish, though, who we really are from the things that we picked up in our subconscious, things that we picked up from our environment, our behavior, right? That's not the same, because sometimes people identify with ways that are ego. They're not their true self. So we have to learn how to tell the difference between who we really are and who this self that we created out of ego, right? There's a difference, okay? It's not the same thing. All right, angels, come through, baby, come through. What we got? Okay, yeah, okay. So we have endings, empathy, mercy, and we have synchronicity. Okay, so let's start with empathy, y'all. So empathy, see yourself and others clearly, right? So that's very convenient what we're just saying, because it's like seeing ourselves clearly allows us to have a certain love, right? Have a love for ourselves, which allows us to love others as well in a way that without judgment. Okay, see yourself and others clearly. Empathy is the ability to look outside yourself and sense or feel energy. If you can't understand other people's point of view or read the mood in a room, the chances of conflict, misunderstandings, and tensions in your life increase dramatically. Allow the angel of empathy to open your heart and mind to your innate clairvoyant potential so you can feel what is going on around you and find ways to serve not just your best interests, but also the interests of others. Empathy allows us deeper understanding of perspectives other than our own. It connects the world. It is your superpower. It is what makes others feel seen and heard and united. But be sure to set boundaries to your empathy to protect yourself. Remember, you don't need to attach yourself to what you sense or feel. It is not agreeing. It is simply feeling your way through life, sensing what is authentic and what comes from the heart. Big facts, y'all. Ain't that just so resonating with what we were just talking about, okay? Yes, feeling your way through life, sensing what is truly authentic and what comes from the heart. Yes, the authenticity is what is going to lead the way, okay? And us being able to have empathy, that's even having empathy for ourselves, right? When we were talking about looking at our flaws, looking at the things that we don't like about ourselves, right? That it's like, why not though? We have to start to ask those questions, the why, the understanding, so we can really get to like, where does that even come from, right? Why did I start denying myself? Was it because of the lack of love that I received? Like, did my parents not build me up? Did they not pour into me enough? Did they not help me build my confidence up? Like, all of these different things will help you pinpoint why you may not like something, and then realize like, there's no reason for me not to really like that about myself. I really just kind of adopted this because I felt like my own parent didn't like this about me, or somebody that I cared about didn't like it. So now I feel like I don't like it. But we need to identify solely with what we like, despite of what other people's like. Fuck what other people like about you. You know what I'm saying? What you like it for yourself. Hey, Bombshell 404. Thank you so much for joining the live, love. So synchronicity, okay? Expect the unexpected. Coincidences are not random. They are loaded with meaning. When coincidences feel transformative, the angel of synchronicity is blessing your life. If you need inspiration, if you have lost sight of who you are and what is important, if you want guidance, hope, and comfort, look out for synchronicity in your life. Ask for what you want, then trust that the signs will come. Pay attention to any chance encounters, meaningful words, messages, songs, lucid dreams, and signs. Feel deep gratitude for these communications. If you get a hunch or sudden illumination, don't dismiss it as random. Listen carefully and consider what the message might be. If you don't notice any synchronicities, perhaps the time isn't right for you, or you need to consider another approach. Either way, continue to expect the unexpected and become more observant. The more curious you are, the more validation and guidance will come to you. Heed the signs. Big facts, y'all. Okay, when you pay attention to synchronicity, that's when you know that the Most High is communicating with you, or you're like, at least you're paying attention to the signs to guide you, and this is being intentional, right? This is being intentional, and this is also being in the present moment, right? I said this on the last live. The only thing that's real is the present moment. The past and the future is just a figment of our imagination, right? So if in every moment we're being intentional and we're paying attention to the signs and synchronicities and we're tapped into what's going on, we ain't just sitting there walking around looking at our phones all motherfucking day, so we can't even pay attention to our surroundings, right? Then it's like we're not even tapped into the source enough to know, like, when God is walking us to an opportunity, walking us into situations that are meant for us, that's going to help us discover more depth of who we are, more purpose, right? So this is why this is important to pay attention to the signs, okay? And the synchronicities, that helps you, like I said, that's also when we're doing the self-reflection and things like that, and we're trying to discover things about purpose. Synchronicity is also going to play a role, okay? 100%, big facts, right? So then also, guys, we're going to do mercy, right? Mercy is another advice from the angels, right? So choose to forgive, right? We need, like we were talking about, right? When we're looking at our flaws or looking at the things that we don't like about ourselves and things like that, that's us being harsh, being hard on ourselves. We're not giving ourselves enough grace. So forgiveness, right? Not just for others, but for ourselves, right? When we do reflect and finally see, damn, we've been really hard on ourselves. We didn't even deserve that, right? That's us giving ourselves forgiveness, okay? So choose to forgive. Forgiveness is a decision you can make to release feelings of resentment. Ask the angel of mercy to bring forgiveness into your heart and into your life. If others have hurt you or let you down and you struggle to forgive them, if others have hurt you or let you down and you struggle to forgive them, the angel of mercy can remind you that forgiving is not forgetting. It is letting go of negativity and opening yourself up to loving feelings and thoughts. It is just as important to show mercy towards yourself. You can't change your past, but you can change your present and what you choose to do with it right now. Understand what went wrong, learn from it, and emerge stronger and wiser. Visualize any hurt, regret, resentment, or anger you have for yourself and others as balloons that you can let go of and watch as they drift away. Yes, y'all. So yes, give yourself mercy, give yourself grace, especially through this journey of self-discovery, because we got a lot of healing to do. We have a lot of, like, we've been programmed by propaganda. We've been conditioned to hate ourselves through divide and conquer. You know what I'm saying? There's all these things we have said against us to, like, spew hate against ourselves and others and things like that. So this is us having this compassion, this mercy, this grace, and just forgiving, the fact that, damn, we have been controlled and conditioned by things. Like, I have to forgive myself and recognize that, these things are not my fault. I have to go back to the source to figure out how I can rebuild who I really am, you know what I'm saying? And holding on, we're not holding on to resentment and hurts, because that don't do nothing but hurt ourselves, right? Wintertime Happy, it says, holding resentment hurts the person holding it more than the perpetrator. Always. Big facts, healing hours. That is so true. You don't hurt anybody but yourself when you're holding on to that resentment. It's so true. So, and the last advice that we have is endings. So say farewell with love. Hey, Courtney O'Shea 111. Thank you so much for joining the live, love. So yes, say farewell with love. Goodbyes can be difficult and painful, but they are essential for your personal growth. Ask the angel of endings to help you understand that endings are not about rejection or regret, but about awakening. They are a sign something else is about to begin. If you can't let go of the past, if you don't know when or how to stop, you can't start something new. Trust that when one door closes for you, the angel of endings will be beside you, helping you find the courage and heart to open another door and let the light in. It is important that you reconcile yourself to the reality that a relationship, experience, or belief that once guided your life is fading away. Chances are that you will miss the familiarity. The future may feel daunting and uncertain, but you are being called to rediscover yourself and find out who you truly are. It's time to say farewell to the past with love and gratitude, and to learn that endings offer you an opportunity for new self-understanding, new experiences, and even greater fulfillment. So that just resonates with everything that we were just talking about, y'all. The ending, saying farewell to the old you, saying farewell to the old people that confine us and want to anchor us to old ways. That when we're trying to overcome things and become greater, you're always going to have those people that's trying to hold you back, right? We don't have to say farewell in anger, right? We can say farewell in love. We can love people from a distance. We can say, I still send those people love, but at the same time, I have to love myself enough to know that way of being, those things, those habits, those things that I did with those people, that those things are no longer serving me. So I'm holding myself back to try to hold on to those things that are confining me to ways that are not beneficial to my growth and my evolution, right? So yes, saying farewell with love, right? Even if it's old ways of thinking, right? Sometimes we need to say farewell to the mindsets that we created, right? Some of us struggle with cognitive dissonance because we haven't let go of old ways of thinking, right? So we're trying to grow and evolve, but we're still holding on to lack mentality. We're still holding on to, religious beliefs that confine us, right? That don't allow us to grow. We're still holding on to things that are not benefiting the element of moving forward and things like that, right? Wintertime Happiest says, new beginnings can start 24/7. We all got this. We're all in this together. Big facts, y'all. Every day is a moment to ascend. Every day is a moment to shift. Every day, right, is a moment to be more in alignment. So what I'm realizing is that, like we talked about earlier about the present moment is the only thing that's real. So in every moment, we're utilizing that to become better, to become more versed in who we are, in what our purpose is, and what is alignment, what's the next steps, all of that. As long as we're always thrived in that, in the moment, baby, your future, there's no limits, baby. No limit, baby. That masterpiece, no limit, baby. Okay, like we gotta get ourselves in a space where we're like, the sky is not even the limit, baby. It's like our belief system is what really motivates and makes us unstoppable. Okay, so think, have the highest hopes. Think big. Don't limit yourself to low vibrational thinking. Don't limit yourself to low vibrational people. Don't limit yourself because, you know what I'm saying? You are the creator of your reality, okay? You are the star of your movie, okay? And so you can create the plot, create everything about your movie, and decide that you're going to be the one to dictate what the happy ending is in your life and all of that. You know what I'm saying? We all have that power. We just have to be reminded of it and jump right into that type of energy. So that way we know what time it is, y'all. Okay. And I'm sending y'all so much love. Thank y'all so much for being here with me. I appreciate y'all too. The ones that y'all returning and y'all fucking with me. Y'all was on my live with me yesterday. And I appreciate y'all just continuing having this energy exchange with me. And as I said before, y'all, if y'all check the link in the bio, I have manifestation journals available for you guys. Evil Eye Protection, Goddess Gang journals as well. And also, if you want to check out my other content, please check out Vibe Priestess Tarot, my YouTube and my TikTok. And I'm sending y'all so much love. And until the next time, mwah and mwah. Peace and love.